Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Wilson with the Friday Night Locker Room and Space Coast Daily TV, coming to you today from the Urban Automotive Studio located at the corner of State Road 520 and US 1 in Cocoa. Today's show is brought to you by Urban Automotive and sponsored by Auto Expo 95. Big event coming up on Saturday, April 26th. It is 321 Empowerment. It's the first in a series of very special events that will be taking place here in Central Florida. If you're not familiar with 321 Empowerment, you're going to hear a little bit about it in just a minute. We have four guests today that are going to talk a little bit about the first series. First, I'd like to welcome to the show with the University of Notre Dame Athletics Department, Ray Herring II. Ray, how you doing, sir? It's always good to see you.
Always great seeing you, Steve. I love visiting you down there in Florida. So, a little bit better weather down up here than up here.
Just a little bit, just a little bit. Our next guest I'd like to introduce was the head football coach of the 2019 LSU Tigers. All he did was take that team undefeated and won the national championship. He is Coach Ed Orgeron. Coach O, welcome to the show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man, and great to be a part of this group. What an outstanding group of young men that are out there helping these young men. I am so grateful to be the first speaker. I can't wait to see everybody.
I agree wholeheartedly. Guest number 3 today has done a lot of things, and he has done a lot of things well. He was a member of the 1993 Florida State University National Championship team. He is a business owner and he continues to give back to the community. Whatever he does, as I mentioned, he does it well. I'd like to welcome to the show, Connell Spain. Connell, thanks for joining us. How are you, sir?
I am absolutely wonderful. I'm blessed. Just really, just excited about bringing, goodwill to Brevard County. All of us have done something amazing in our life, and it's just an honor to be a part of something to look back and pull for those kids that are going to need our help going forward into this big world. I also am owner of the Star House Group Home, where my wife and I own it, where we have at-risk kids. So it's kind of parallels to what we're already doing. And so it's all about for us helping those who really want help for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And our fourth guest today needs no introduction, and really none of these gentlemen do, but he is the current head football coach of the Holy Trinity Tigers. He is a graduate of Merritt Island High School. He played on 2 national championship teams at the University of Miami. I'd like to welcome to the show Coach Hurlie Brown. Coach Brown, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Steve. How you doing, buddy? It's so great to be on the show and talk with you and be reunited with Coach Ed Orgeron. Coach Orgeron was one of my coaches down there at the University of Miami, and man, I've watched his career. I've watched him grow, and I just love the person that he has turned out to be. I mean, to have been around a guy like that, and I tried to emulate some of the stuff that he did. I couldn't do it, but I tried. So you are a great inspiration to myself and the guys that we know, Russell Maryland, God bless Cortez Kennedy and rest his soul, but all the guys that you were able to coach and to teach and mentor. Coach, we love you. We're so proud of you. And, man, I'm just so happy to be on this call with you.
Thank you.
Ray, I'm sorry, Coach. Go ahead.
It means a lot, Hurlie. And look, hey, you kept all those guys straight for me. I'll tell you what now, when Big Cortez got in the huddle and he wasn't doing right and you chewed his butt out for not going hard, I got you, Hurlie. I got you, Hurlie. You was a great man.
Man, I miss that guy so much. I love him.
Yeah.
Love him.
But Connell, I enjoyed watching y'all play at Florida State. Although y'all was our rival, and we won those wide rights, Hurlie can tell you, after the game, you think everybody was celebrating? We all had IVs, man. We can't they'll miss that field goal. But look, Connell, I still think we ain't blocked you yet.
Coach, don't blow his head up. His head is already too big for this interview anyway.
So before we get too far off track, we better talk about something that I mentioned at the outset. We could be here all day. I could be here listening to you guys all day. But Ray Herring. Ray, tell us, I mentioned 321 Empowerment a few minutes
Yeah.
ago. Tell us a little bit about what that is and how it all came about.
So 321 Empowerment, it's been something that I've always thought about. I just never knew when to start it. And it's great that, we have such an awesome board that has similar vision, and to see it all come into fruition now is awesome. But it's pretty much, looking at the education system, everybody knows that there's certain things that aren't being taught in schools or in college. And in life, you kind of learn these things by trial and error. You kind of stumble upon them. And I always thought it would be great it'd be great if we had learned these things a lot earlier in life, the way we can avoid some missteps. So that's how 321 Empowerment came together. One day visiting Holy Trinity, and Hurlie and I get together, we started brainstorming. He's like, "Oh, I'm thinking the same thing." And then Michael Cador, who's with Eastern Florida State, similar thing. We get together, and then got 12 other great guys on our board, and it came to be 321 Empowerment. But the overall vision is to inspire, educate, empower 9th through 12th grade males. And we say males for now because as a starting point, we just want to start there, and it could possibly grow into more. And then just help them build critical life skills and pursue their passions and grow into active, contributive members of their community. So we want to kind of truly balance out their education that they're learning in the high school, and then teaching them these true life skills so that when they're ready to leave home, they'll be better suited to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have 6 core things that we teach on. The first one we're doing with Coach Orgeron, who we're blessed to have come to our first event. It's going to be career planning, but we'll touch on financial literacy, how to, business etiquette, mentorship, emotional intelligence, and then networking is kind of our pillars.
Coach O, you will be the first guest speaker ever with 321 Empowerment. What will your message be to the young men that will be attending?
Well, first of all, I'm proud to be the first speaker there. And I'll speak on career planning, but I'm going to tell them my story. And I needed men in my life to direct me. I was raised in a $25 a month rental home.
Wow.
But I was raised rich in that home because they gave me heart, they gave me courage, they gave me the ability to compete. But sports was my way out. We was raised on the bayou. I mean, you was going to go work in a shrimp shed, or you was going to go work offshore. I was the first person in my family to get a college education. And that's what my father wanted for me. But along the way, I needed men to direct me to where I always wanted to coach. I always wanted to be a football coach. But I was rough around the edges. Hey, Connell and Hurlie, Ray, most defensive linemen are, right?
Oh, yeah. You got to have it.
I needed some people to guide me in the direction that I needed to be. And that's what I'm going to talk to them about networking, and especially listening to people that you respect. Now, these 3 men that I'm talking to, they go talk to a young man. They have proven that they're successful, but they have proven that they have fought through some adversity in their life. And that's what I'm going to talk to those young men about.
Connell, I mentioned at the outset, you have been successful. You work successful on the football field and in the business world. Do you see any parallels? Did sports help you in the business world? And is there a message there for young people that they can take from that?
Absolutely. When you hear Coach Orgeron talking about how he grew up in the rough patches, right? So after football, I'll just really quick. After football, I went through a rough patch in my life, and I, felt myself. I've always been the jokey guy. I always been the team jokester. But I found myself in a situation where I was really, really, really depressed. Football was over with, trying to figure out life after football. Just really put myself in a pickle. And so part of my message in life to these kids is understanding that football is a way out, but life after football is what you're going to actually live. And we all have found a way. I tell you, when I went through my tough times, if it wasn't for football, if it wasn't for me hearing Coach Andrews in the back of my mind telling me not to give up, I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
so I certainly use football even to this day running my businesses. I kind of run it as a head coach, your head, the owner, the head coaches and all that good stuff. I run it as a team because that's what I believe in. And that's a lot of football is certainly parallel in my life that way.
Mm-hmm. Coach Brown, you walk the halls every day at high school. You see these young men, I call them young men, they're kids basically, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. This may be a fairly broad question, but what do they need? What are they looking for?
Guidance, exposure,
Mm-hmm.
wisdom, knowledge. Steve, when we were growing up, there was a time where we all had we all got our stories, right? But we all had someone that was older than us that was able to give us some knowledge. And I'm talking about anything. I'm talking about getting your hair cut, talking about the way
Right.
you wore your clothes and stuff like that. We had older guys that were, 5 to 6 years older, maybe one generation older than us, that filled that void of the absentee father. All right. And I believe over the last 20 years, maybe 30 years, that is missing. We don't have that anymore. These young kids, they don't have guys in the neighborhood that'll say, hey, look, man, hey, I want you to stop doing that. I never forget when I was in high school, I tried to skip school one day, and Sheldon Montgomery, who was, one of the star players on the team, before I got there, Sheldon
Uh-huh.
had already left school. He had graduated high school already, went off to college, came home from college. Now he's working in the construction industry. Sheldon sees me at 7-Eleven. We're in the middle of the day. Sheldon's like, Hurlie, what are you doing? Man, hey man, I'm out of school today, I'm
Yeah.
thinking, cool. Sheldon hit me in my chest. Get your butt back to school. And he sat there and watched me walk across the street and would not leave until he saw me go back into the school. We don't have that anymore. So with this particular group, Ray and I was talking about, the exposure and giving back to the kids and stuff like that. And everything that we talked about, we both agreed on. We had the exact same vision. So when it came time to put something like this together, Ray orchestrated this whole thing because I've been talking about this for the last 10, 15 years, especially coaching football. And again, just to hit on something that Coach Orgeron was talking about earlier, Coach Orgeron, you guys gave us the necessary tools for us to go out in life and be successful.
Right.
As you coaches, high school coaches, my coaches, Coach Jimmy Johnson, Coach Ed Orgeron, Butch Davis, Dave Wanstead, Sonny Lubick, those guys gave me the tools to get out here and fight through adversity because everybody's going to face it and come out on the other side of it. It may be a little pain. It may hurt a little bit, but we know that we're going to come out on the other side of that pain. And that's where we are in our lives now. We want to help guide these kids through that pain and get on the other side of it. There's a quote from Frederick Douglass that says it's easier to teach a child than it is to repair an adult. You know what I mean? So the lessons that we got from Coach Odo, and I never forget, Coach, you and I can't remember my guy's name, but he's a doctor. And y'all were out at like 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, going to recruit. And I'm just sitting there like, you got to be kidding me. These guys getting up this early in the morning, getting out on the road and recruit, and you actually held your guys to a standard of 13 schools a day.
That's right.
13 schools a day. And when you're talking about a guy that was one of the best recruiters ever existing in college football, that's Ed Orgeron. And I tried to pattern my recruiting style after Coach Orgeron. And at one time, I was ranked the 16th best recruiter in the country, the 4th best recruiter in the ACC, all because I wanted to be like Ed Orgeron and wanted to follow in his footsteps as far as recruiting was concerned. And again, I tried, Coach. I tried. I got close.
You did, Hurlie. You did, man. Hey, you accomplished a lot. I'm proud of you.
I appreciate it, Coach. But that's what we are with these kids, trying to give these kids those tools that we were taught along the way so that they can go out and be productive in
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that they choose to do.
And, Ray, the young kids that Coach Brown is talking about, they're not bad kids that
No,
will be there. They just need some guidance, correct?
Yeah, so we're just looking to guide. I'm a college football coach as well. What you learn is everybody they want direction. They want to be told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
They want somebody to look up to, someone to respect, and someone to lead them. And that's kind of that father mentor piece that all males want. And that's another part of 321 empowerment is having that place that they can go to where they can get that guidance, where they have those questions that maybe they have a tough time asking their parents, where they can come
Yeah.
talk to us. And one thing Hurley touched on, what's big for us is exposure. You take a kid like me, projects, grow up, go to beachside, then go back to the projects to live, and then find my way to Notre Dame, and then now I'm hanging around wealthy people, and then now I'm working with the top 1% of America and seeing all this stuff. I would never know any of the things that I see existed without being exposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
321 Empowerment can take a kid, a young Ray Herring that's growing up in East Galley, and say, hey, let me tell you about private equity and how you can make $10 million a year. I can tell that kid early and teach him how to get on track that can change the entire generation of his family. So it's pretty much taking all the knowledge and education that we all have learned, which we have a dynamic board of just our network and feeding into these kids earlier, which if they have a vision and a plan earlier, then there should be less disciplinary issues, less distractions for themselves, because now they know their why and they know what they're going after.
Yeah,
Coach Joe,
absolutely.
I mentioned at the outset, you were the head football coach of the LSU Tigers when you guys won the national championship. I'm assuming you'll touch on that sometime during your speech, but that can transfer over to anything, can it? If you've got a young person out there, maybe they're in the band, maybe they're not heavily involved in athletics. Still, you talking about reaching the pinnacle of success as the head coach of a national championship. Those two can merge, can't they?
They can't merge. One of the things that I want to talk to these young men about, one team, one heartbeat. There were
Mm-hmm.
no superstars on my team. There's a couple of superstars in the NFL today. But look, we all had a role, and we all did it to the best of our ability. And we did it together. And that was one of the things that was most important about that team. And these guys talk about leadership. I told them, this is your team. It's
Mm-hmm.
not my team. I'm going to guide you. Joe Burrow took that team, but there was a lot of guys on that football team that were leaders in the locker room, leaders at halftime, and that are very successful today on and off the field. So I'm going to talk to them about that and what success brings. Team, together, everyone achieves more. It wasn't about one individual. When we were going to the championship, I'm going to mention this to those guys. We never spoke about individual accomplishments. It was always about the team. We didn't even show Joe's Heisman Trophy winner. We must have won
Wow.
every award that you can. We wanted one award, and we won that one at the end, and that's the one we talked about.
Mm-hmm. Connell, I mentioned at the outset, you wear so many different hats, you do so many different things. Why 321 Empowerment? What drew you to that?
Well, for me, I think Ray hit it is when they called me about it, I didn't even hesitate. I was just Hurley called me, hey, I'm in. Because as soon as he said something about kids and giving back, I was in because I'm already doing it in my day to day. And it feels really good. And it feels really good to be able to do it in our county to help let these kids know that we came from some of the same places that y'all came from. Like I literally, when you say the projects, Ray know part of my life I grew up in this place called Shaw Manor Apartments. Wasn't great when I grew up. But what I did see is my mom get up and go to work every day, hard work and dedication. She probably missed in 34 years of working probably 10 days. And so I saw my dad, who was the second in command of the Melbourne Police Force here in Melbourne. Commander Ron Bell, and I saw them work from the trenches all the way up to where they got to in their career. So I know that it can happen because it has happened. We've made it happen through hard work and dedication. And so I'm just super excited that we get to instill that into these kids. It's very important. Um, our county is a growing county, but we still have to bring back those who have done so that they can see that it can be done.
Mhm. Coach Brown, I mentioned you have been walking the halls now for a few years at the high school level. Have you seen any changes? Have the young people changed over the years? Are they different now than maybe 10 or 15 years ago?
Nah, in my opinion, Steve, no. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now the things that are around them have changed. Social media has changed. And I would say we've changed as we've gotten older. We've changed
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that, and again, everybody wants their kid to do better than what they did. Everybody
Right.
wants their children to have more than what they did. A lot of times what we don't want to do is allow them to be able to see or go through those hardships that allows them to be better once they get through those hardships.
Mm-hmm.
We've taken the hardships away. And not saying we want to go out there and beat our kids up and nothing like that,
Right.
but sometimes we got to step back and let those kids fail and know how to go to work and get beyond that. So when you talked about earlier, are there parallels from football to life? It's all the same thing. When you start talking about hard work, commitment, dedication, resilience, I mean, all of that is what we were taught in football that allows us to apply those same rules in life. And that's why we've been able to be successful. And
Mm-hmm.
and again, so when you start talking about, with these kids and stuff like that, if we can stay consistent, and Coach Orgeron can elaborate on this, because I watched Coach Orgeron. I actually went when Coach Orgeron. Remember when we came to the Saints when you were coaching the defensive line? My wife and I came down there to visit with you.
Yes,
And
yes.
his consistency over years. You remember that? Yeah. But his consistency over the years is what has allowed him to be successful. His resilience, his just commitment to greatness. And those are the things that we're trying to instill in these kids, and that's what our kids are still looking for. They still want that. Now, social media has a tendency to pull them away from it because it distracts them a little bit. But at the end of the day, they still want it. They still need it.
Mm-hmm.
Ray, 321 Empowerment is now in its infancy, I would say. It's just now getting started. Where would you like to see the organization maybe 5 years from now?
5 years from now, 5 years from now, hopefully we have some kids that started in ninth grade and now they're coming back to help those new ninth graders. And
Mm-hmm.
it's branded as the place in Brevard County that if your kid don't go there, you're kind of crazy because they're learning so much and it's putting them ahead of the game of life. Also, it'd be nice to at some point as we establish ourselves and do a good job with males that maybe we look at bring possibly females on the end at some point because there's some dynamic women in Brevard County. But we
Mm-hmm.
gotta start small, start slow with that, But at the end of the day, just that it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's giving people an opportunity to truly succeed, and they're being fully educated. I like to say to be successful and give back to their communities.
Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, at this point in time, I'd like to get each of your final thoughts. We're going to go in reverse order this time, starting with Coach Hurlie Brown. Coach Brown, your final thoughts today.
Well, man, I got a whole bunch of them, but I'm not going to take a whole lot of your time, Steve.
Hey, that's okay.
We just want to be able to put ourselves in a position to where the kids can lean on us. And again, we're not trying to replace anybody's parents. We're just trying to be in addition to what they've learned at home and help them grow. And we're not just talking about, I know you said 5 years, but we want to see this whole thing through. As a coach, and Coach Orgeron again can attest to this, man, when you build those relationships, it's not just for 4 or 5 years. It's not just because you're in high school or through high school. We want to be able to sit back and say, okay, hey, look, whenever you need me, you can reach out and touch me. Whenever you need guidance, whenever you need a conversation, whenever you need advice, we're going to be here for these kids. And that's for life. You know, I got kids that I coached 18 years ago, and we still talk. And that's the relationship that we want out of 321 Empowerment. Just because you're not at an event or you're not in Brevard County doesn't necessarily mean that you can't call and talk to us and help us, let us help you get through that particular situation. You know, do not allow your temporary situation to be a permanent definition of who you are. And that's where we come in at. We're here. And if we can't help you figure it out, we're 1 or 2 phone calls away from anybody in the country that can help you get it done.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. This is a relationship.
Very well said. Thank you, Coach Brown. Connell Spain, sir, your final thoughts today.
Yeah, so, just super proud and happy to be a part of 321 Empowerment. Again, super proud to have Coach O with us. My vision is to, help these kids to be better than they were yesterday and, start the process of being great tomorrow. So, we are going to pour everything we have into these kids, love on these kids, and give them guidance and direction so that they can be successful. Because it really feels good to be successful because we know the work and dedication that we put into it to become whom we are today. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it all over again to feel some of that pain to make sure that these kids don't. So that's where I'm at with it. So go 321 Empowerment. We here and we ain't going nowhere.
I like the sound of that. Very well said, sir. Coach Ed Orgeron, Coach O, your final thoughts today.
Man, listen to how impressive Ray, Connell, and Hurlie are. I'd want those guys on my team. Just listen to those men talk, coming from their heart, what they have to give to 321 Empowerment and more. This is going to be a wonderful organization. I'm just glad to be a part of it. And I'm excited to come up there. You know, that was one of my first recruiting areas, Vero Beach, Melbourne. There were some players up there. And Connell, it's grown ever since I've been up there, but I remember going to see Billy Lemons. We go to Fat Boys Barbecue. That's all they do. Hey, Kenny Holmes, man. Hey, you know what? It's kind of funny. And he didn't give me Kenny Holmes' name till October his senior year. He would make sure that guy could play in Miami. And when I saw him play, I said, Coach Lemons, why you didn't tell me about him? So I just wanted to make sure he was good enough for you, Coach. Kenny Holmes, All-American. You know what I mean? But I got some great memories of your area. I can't wait to spend some time with you guys. I'm in. I'm totally in.
Very well said, Coach O. Thank you, sir. And Ray Herring II. Ray, your final thoughts today.
Just very thankful of Coach O just allowing us to have him and come and talk to kids. I mean, he's awesome. Everybody knows that, and we're just truly blessed to have that. I think the best thing about it for me is just working with the board and everybody from Hurlie to Connell to Cador to just everybody. Truly blessed and nobody has an ego. You know, we're just trying to do the best we can for the kids. You know, everybody's busy, but we're still pouring everything that we got into it. And there's no doubt that this is going to be the thing in Brevard. It's not going to take long because we're teaching something that's much needed.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank each of you for your time today. You know, you're all very special. Anytime you give back to the community, especially the young people, it doesn't get much better than that. But thank you so much once again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So for all of our special guests today and for all of our sponsors, including Urban Automotive and Auto Expo 95, I'm Steve Wilson with the Friday Night Locker Room and Space Coast Daily TV. We'll see you next time.